All right. I'm back. Well, we're back, actually. You know, I was suspended off YouTube for about a week. Did you hear that story?
I don't. Yeah, I did actually. I listened to that one.
Yeah. It was wonderful. Anyway, look at this shirt. My friend got me this shirt because it was my birthday last week. It says, I know I live like an old man. Try and keep up.
That was what a gift.
Yeah, really. yeah. So yeah. Oh, here's Luke. Okay, cool. So what's up, Luke?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good. We're rolling already. Damn, man, that beard's getting fucking big. Holy shit.
It's training with me.
Holy, yeah, really. Anyway, I put it on Instagram. Basically, what happened was I interviewed Amber DeLuca, who's this fetish model. This was like 2 years ago, and it's on my other channel. But apparently, you know, you get a strike, and it's both channels, whatever. So, what happened was when people come on my channel and they want to promote something, I put like the links in my description everywhere. One of the links went to a pornographic site because it was a fetish. She's a fetish model. So I went to clips for sale. Apparently you could buy short clips of her doing, you know, disgusting things and whatnot.
Oh.
And that's a big no-no on YouTube. Apparently you could talk about, you know, shitting on somebody's chest, golden showers, getting kicked in the nuts, things like that. But the link is no go. You know. What's up, Big Phil?
I'm trying to twist this thing around, man. You got me on all kinds of different apps and shit.
I know having trouble with my Zoom.
Don't worry, Phil. I was having trouble getting on as well.
Oh, sorry,
but I'm trying to figure out how to switch this camera around. It's not switching by itself.
If it's not, don't worry about it. You're still very handsome, Phil. Don't worry about it.
Nah, man. Stop messing stuff up, bro.
yeah. But next time, hopefully, I'll be all right.
Are you still booted off of what you call it?
No, we're back. So we're good. We're back. Everything is back to normal. Thank God. It was only a week. The next time it happens, they told me it'll be 6 months. I was like, well, guess what? No more fetish models. I ain't doing that shit no
more.
Wow. Anyway, so there's a whole bunch of shit to talk about, right? We can catch up with the Arnold Brazil, but that was kind of a given. I mean, everybody knew Brandao was going to win, but I had picked Tony O'Burton. But I want your opinion on Good Vito. How did you guys think Good Vito looked? Dorian, go ahead. How did you think Good Vito looked?
I thought he looked good for him. It's kind of interesting to see, you know, him in a lineup with guys of that caliber and that quality. I think he brought his best package to the stage. But those guys are pretty good. I honestly had Tonio winning the show.
Yeah, sort
of. But it is Brazil, so that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. What do you think, Luke? What do you think? Because when I looked at Good Vito, I thought he was I just thought his structure was a little off. You know,
I was actually surprised when I saw him. I said, "Wow, this guy actually came in conditioned."
He did.
He brought the striated glutes, everything. He was very well conditioned. I was, I said, "Oh, he might edge one of these guys out for second." That's what I thought, at least.
Yeah.
But but like you said, like I said, it's Brazil, so the judges need to make it out of there alive. So
yeah, you know what? Last time we did a video, me and Phil, that never aired because it was a waste because I couldn't put it up, and then it was a preview about Brazil, and he had said the same thing. It's Brazil, and I hadn't taken it into consideration. But what did you think, Phil? Because I thought Tonio looked a little better, but what did you think, Phil?
Tonio looked good. I mean, he looked real good. I think he looked better at the Olympia, though. But
really,
yeah, the Good Vito. If we're gonna stick to the criteria of bodybuilding, you know what I mean? I think he outconditioned both of them.
Yeah.
Honestly, my opinion. He filled all the boxes for the criteria of open bodybuilding. I actually thought he was going to push for first or second. I really thought that. I already knew, like we spoke the week prior, I already knew that Rafael was going to win it. I already knew it. He already had his trophy before he got there.
Yeah, 100%.
So it was really a battle between Vito and Antonio, and of course, Antonio just outshaped him. But I think Good Vito for his debut came in completely ridiculous in condition.
Yeah, he was impressive. It's just I think his legs are a little bit too big for his upper body. He's got to balance out, but he's a young guy, and for his pro debut, it was pretty good. But he's a young dude, and he was impressive with the conditioning and the package he brought. But Tonio and Rafael are two shape guys, and they have these beautiful physiques. Tonio came in really good shape, and Rafael, like you said, man, it's a hometown advantage. It is what it is. But now I understand that Good Vito's doing the Detroit Pro.
Oh, that's good.
Saw that. Five other guys.
All right, the Detroit Pro is this weekend. Okay, and there's actually some fucking gossip running around the Detroit Pro. But first of all, Martin Fitzwater dropped out. Okay,
yeah, why?
So because he's not. Look, man.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It seems to me like these young guys coming up, like there's guys coming up that mean business, and there's a lot of young guys coming up who have what it takes, but they just don't want to put the work in. And I might be wrong, but he seems like that kind of guy. I don't know. So it just seems like he doesn't have his head in the game. And it seems like this kid, because he's the full package, it just seems like he just doesn't. I don't know. Do you think that's what the problem is with him?
I got a couple guys that I think that are coming to my mind, and what you're trying to describe here. Like Carlos Thomas, right?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
Something like that. And I can't say these guys are necessarily not hard workers. I think with Carlos, I think he's just got that type of body where it's hard for him to nail it. I don't necessarily think it's I may be wrong, but it may not be, them not working hard enough or not suffering hard enough. I train here at Armbrust Pro Gym. I know Mark personally because he came down and trained for an extended period of time. And I've seen his work ethic and the way he trains with Brett Wilkins. He trains hard and he trains fairly smart. His intensity is fantastic. But, I don't know what's going on with his personal life. He probably has some stress going on there. So then when it comes to this prep, I just have no idea because I haven't been around him.
Carlos is another guy. And Carlos, I bit my lip for a while because he was on my show with me on MD every week. And I know him well. His father's been on my show. I know him well. But at a certain point, I had to call a circle, and I did it last night. And I finally said, you got to get on stage, man. We got to see what you're made of. So last year he was supposed to do the New York Pro. He got sick. Then he did the Texas Pro. He came in shape, but not 100%. And then I remember doing the wrap up and saying, these kids just keep going. Like you got what it takes. Just come in 10% better. You could probably win the next show. And then he packed it in for the year. And then he was supposed to do Brazil, and he had a death. There was a death in the family, or a friend passed, or something like that. And Phil's back.
It was bothering me. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't.
And
I had to fix it.
That's all right, no problem. And what the biggest thing with me is, like, it's just from a fan's perspective, especially when you see guys like Martin Fitzwater, Carlos Thomas Jr., when they have it all, when they don't have a weak point, and you're like, you just got to figure out your body and see what the hell's going on, and they kind of, it's frustrating as from a fan's point of view when you want to see these guys really, do well, and let's see. Like, for example, I spoke to Justin Rodriguez in the gym, whatever. He goes to Signature. You know him, Luke? Because he's from, I think he lives in Jersey. I'm not 100%.
No, I haven't met Justin personally, but
he's supposed to be doing the show this weekend, the Detroit Pro. That's what he told me. I don't know if he's still doing it or not, but
he's doing it.
He is?
Yeah.
Talk to him.
I've seen him 3 times because I go to different gyms. I've seen him 3 times in the gym. And I know I brought this up to Phil, and Phil, you had said, well, as you get older, you want to stimulate. You don't want to annihilate, right? You just want to. Phil, I don't even see this guy stimulating. I don't see him doing shit in the gym. I don't see him doing a goddamn damn thing. And again, I kind of hope he sees this because maybe it'll motivate him. I don't really care if he comes up to me and talks to me and says, you're talking shit. But at a certain point, like, dude, I've never seen him break a sweat. And when it comes to the pros, like when I used to see Clarita there, or when I used to see Akeem Williams there, or when I see Justin, I keep the conversation limited. I go over, I say hello, I shake their hands, but I keep it limited because I don't want to interrupt their workout because this is what they do for a living. So it would be like, to me, I look at it like if I'm working and you're trying to have a conversation with me, but I'm working, right? Like it's not a good time to talk right now. So I keep it very limited. This is how I'm thinking. This is what they're doing. They're at work. But Justin, apparently, man, he's just, I don't see him doing a goddamn thing in the gym.
Let me ask you a question.
Good.
Is there one incident where you noticed this recently, or has this been like several times you've seen this happen?
Well, I've seen him 3 times, and all 3 times it's like the same thing. He's talking to somebody's bullshit, and he's kind of on a machine doing this, doing that kind of thing, and that's about it. I mean, last time he was.
I know if you just saw him last week, he's like a week out of the show.
Yeah.
And I've been having some motivation issues myself and being able to go as hard as I can. Justin, he needs to be in a place where he's gonna just nail his conditioning, and to do that, and you don't have energy. So I mean, tougher in that last little segment. So I'm trying to give him benefit of the doubt.
I'm willing to give all these guys the benefit of the doubt, but I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt, but you gotta, at some point, show up on stage and present it and be like, and then if that's the case, if any one of these guys, Carlos, Justin, Martin Fitzwater, show up in a show this year and nail it and wreck everybody, I'll be the first person to come on here and say, I was wrong about that guy. I apologize, and I was wrong about him.
And I believe, since it's just him and Vito in the show, I think he may beat Vito. I really believe it.
He can beat him. That's the thing. He can beat him because he outshapes him, and he could bang heads with him when it comes to size. And if he nails his conditioning, he could win the show and he could beat him. And
I think the coach he has now, I think he'll do it. I'm not really big on online pictures because I know they get doctored. But I think 2.5 weeks ago, I saw a picture of him, and I judge from all the pictures he previously posted, and he was pretty damn grainy and pretty dry. But that's what Matt Jensen camp is known for. I mean, if they can't get him in shape, which I've seen him get everybody they coach in shape. So I think that he's going to pull it off structurally against Vito. He comes in condition. I mean, we all know, Justin is going to pull it out regardless. It's not much competition there, I hate to say. Yeah.
If he wins this show, I will do the review and I will make a verbal apology. But because I'm, just a man of my word, I'm not going to, shit on somebody and then they come out and they go make an excuse. It is what it is. But I will give a verbal apology. But
now the Martin thing, I'm shocked. I mean, you shocked me with that. I mean, I'm really
it was on RX Muscle. They posted it. He pulled out. He's done. Martin Fitzwater drops Detroit Pro preview. Swipe.
I hope you understand. He has to pay. He has to pay a fine for that, or he has to have a legitimate doctor's excuse to pull out of a show once he's committed.
Martin Fitzwater gives us a preview of what we can expect at this weekend's Detroit Pro. Then it says Martin Fitzwater drops Detroit. All right. I'm a complete asshole.
Oh, there you go. Because I'm about to say he's on
picture drop.
Yeah. I'm a complete douchebag. I'm sorry, fellas, and I'm sorry, Martin Fitzwater. I'm an idiot.
Yeah, boy. I was like, that's why I'm sitting here. I'm like, shit, man. I just saw he's on a freaking list, and that's not like him to pull out of a show. So that's what I'm saying.
You know what? They did this.
You might as well go high because he's coming at you after this.
That's
video.
all right. Don't worry about it. That's all right. But you know what? It's not my fault. They made it look like he dropped because it said Martin Fitzwater drops Detroit Pro preview, and if you read it quickly, you think he would say Martin Fitzwater drops out of Detroit Pro. All right. So I'm blaming this one on RX Muscle. I'm a dick. I'm a douchebag with a microphone. Don't listen to me. Since when do you guys start listening to me? Anyway, okay. The other one, the other rumor floating around the Detroit Pro. You know, the guys are sponsoring is Hostile. You see this?
Why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a couple of them. It's a couple. It's not just him. It's just I think it's two other guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not just him.
So apparently you could do a meet and greet, and you could either pay $40 and you can meet the guys from the podcast, you know, including Sam Sulek and whatnot, or if you pay at the door, it's another $50. But then you could also pay $200 and get a backstage pass and kind of meet everybody, and it's a little bit more of an intimate introduction and conversation and whatnot. But there's apparently Johnny Bravo did a video on it, and he showed there were people on Reddit that were complaining about Hostile and Sam and Fuad. Apparently at the Arnold Classic, people came in and they were online. They only wanted to meet Sam Sulek. First of all, I don't know why people want to meet Sam Sulek. I mean, he's just a young guy on YouTube. I don't get it. Like, he's not a champion bodybuilder, but whatever. That's not the case. He had a huge line and to meet him. And if you wanted to cut the line, you could buy a box of supplements from Hostile for $200 and you could cut the line. Right. So apparently, according to complaints on Reddit, there were people that paid the $200 and then Sam left early.
What?
And they did not. And then they did not get to meet him. And then when the people confronted Fuad, he said, "Well, the credit will go to the next show when you're able to meet him." And there was one person that said, "Yeah, but I came from Europe, so it's going to be very difficult for me to come to another show to meet him, whether it's in the States or Canada or so on and so forth." And apparently there was no refund. Now, this is what people were saying on Reddit, and there was multiple articles about this. And Johnny Bravo dropped the video today. And okay, so I don't understand paying to meet somebody in general, but I especially don't understand paying to meet somebody who's not a champion bodybuilder. But on the flip side, do you guys think it's fair that you charge so much money to meet somebody?
I mean, that's their fans. They're fans. They paid the money, and you're obligated to the fans. Those are the people that are making him who he is right now. That's why he's so big right now. That's why he has all the following. They're fans. I mean, once they pay that money, you're pretty much obligated.
So here's the thing. Every time I ever went to the Olympia or New York Pro or anything like that, I would wait online to meet somebody, but I never had to pay anything. I mean, I met Jay Cutler, I met Jose Raymond. You go down the line, Brandon Curry, you know, all the people I was fans of before I started the show. You know, I never had to pay. I waited online. I never had to pay a dime. What's the deal with like charging and $200 for you, and you get supplements and you get cut the line? It looks like Fuad is striking while the iron's hot and really taking advantage of the fact that this guy is this social media influencer and everybody wants to meet him, and he's just like, I wanna, and then it looks like the kid's just going for the ride. Now I don't know if he gets a percentage of that or if it's just part of his contract. That's completely different. Yeah. But as professional athletes, Dorian and Phil, what do you think about charging some people money to meet you?
Go ahead, Dorian.
I wish I was in that situation where people like that. But no, I think out of respect to you, these are the people who care about you. These are the people who are supporting you, and you should show them some gratitude. And you wouldn't be shit without your fans.
Yeah.
And I think personally, I if I was in a situation where I could make some money off of it, I would feel that was morally a little fucked. So
yeah.
When I heard about the Arnold doing it, me and Patty, and there was a bunch of people were making some comments that it made no sense. They never done this in previous Arnolds, and they never done this in previous pro shows at all. I think it is taking advantage of the fans, and it's taking advantage of the situation of the person. This kid, he's smart, Sam Sulek. I watch his video. He's a very intelligent kid. I don't know how long or if, once his contract is over, he may not even stay with Fuad. The kid was making tons of money without him. I don't see the benefit of signing when now Fuad gets a cut of what you were doing for Hostile, right? So I'm different. I would never do it. I don't give excuse my friends, two shits who sponsors me. Nobody's going to tell me that they believe it's a good idea for me to take money from fans that's been supporting me from day one. I wouldn't do it. I mean, I do stuff in my community now, and I don't charge anybody. I mean, I got a college appearance for a kid that I saw compete that I guess posed at a high school bodybuilding competition, which I think is very great. I wish they had this stuff back when I was up and coming, but this kid did classic physique, and he was phenomenal. I mean, he looked great. Yeah. I was diving for a show. I stayed an extra 45 minutes to an hour to help this kid with his posing and spoke to his family and all this stuff. I was probably one of the last persons to leave. And then he reached out to me and asked, can I come to they have a bodybuilding team at the college at USF, and if I could come and speak to them, and what am I going to charge them because they're on a tight budget. Patty runs anything that I do, and I'm fully on board with everything. First thing she said is you can't charge them. I said, okay, well, let's go. Let's do it. Regardless if they're going to charge people to come and see me, she said, don't charge them. When I did the guest posing for that high school, I did not charge Charles at Advanced Fit at all. So I just think it comes down to your morals and the respect you have for yourself and other people, and understand that money isn't always everything, because, when we die, you never see a hearse behind a casket.
Yeah, right.
I mean, sorry, a U-Haul behind a hearse. You never see that, So I just don't agree upon what they're doing. I think they're following off of what happened at Arnold. Right now, he's obviously clearly him and Ben Chow, and I don't know the other gentleman that's all on board with us promoting the show. Now I'm in a tight situation because there's no pros really doing the show. So now he's going to lose a lot of freaking money.
Yeah.
You know, so probably, I don't know, man. I don't agree with charging fans to stand in the line. They didn't do it at the Olympia, and they were meeting all the top athletes in the world. So.
Yeah. Oh, I agree with you, Phil. But do you guys think it's because Martin's only 22 at this point? Maybe
he's older than that.
He's older than that. Not Martin. I'm sorry. Sam Sulek. He's only about 22 at this point. Do you guys think that it's Martin, or do you think he's just following Fuad's lead?
Say it again, Martin.
I got the Martin thing. Yeah, Sam. Sorry, I got the Martin thing on my head because I fucked that up. Sorry. All right. Do you guys think it's Sam, or do you think that it is just Sam's following Fuad's lead and he's looking to make money, and then that's it?
I don't believe it's Sam.
Yeah, I don't think it's him.
Yeah. So you think it's just a young kid going, okay, whatever you want to do.
He's going with the flow. I honestly think that he's actually excited just to be there. That he's just happy to be around something that he loves doing.
Yeah, and it's I was a huge fan of Fuad. Like one of the reasons I started the podcast was because during the lockdown, I used to get enjoyment out of watching him and Luke before Luke Sandow had passed. And I used to watch with my wife. It was funny and so on and so forth. And he was one of the reasons why I started it. He had influenced me to start and motivated me to start it. And now it just seems like, I mean, look, I understand business is business and we all got to make a living and so on and so forth. But it just seems put it this way, where there's smoke, there's fire. It just seems like there's too much controversy around him and Sam and charging too much money and not doing the right thing by fans and so on and so forth. Again, I hope I'm wrong, but that's what it just seems, especially when you charge $200. If you charge $200 and the guy leaves early, it should be an immediate refund. Here's your money back. I mean, really, Now, according to the people that said it on Reddit, there wasn't his defense can be, well, you did get the supplements for $200. You just were able to cut the line because you bought the supplements for $200, right?
Yeah, but who gives two shits about the supplements? I'm sorry. I mean, the reason why they paid for that supplement was to cut the line. Did they really need it, or did they really want it? Or listen, you're going to promote something to do something, and the individual did not stay there. Now, I don't know what happened with Sam, but I know that if I hire this guy to jump on my supplement team and something's going on, I'm going to say, like, listen, could you hang in there, man? We got a long line here. You know what I mean? Unless it's a diring situation to why you left,
right?
Nobody would know. Nobody would know. I mean, it could be Sam wasn't comfortable with the situation and how it was being run and the fact that people were being charged. I don't know. I'm speculating, but I just don't believe. I'm gonna say I don't care for Fawad. I really don't care for Fawad. I don't give a shit if he sees this or not. I just don't.
Yeah,
I never did.
Okay.
I never did.
Any particular reason?
Well, he's always have something negative to say regarding me, even when I competed in his shows.
Oh,
and
you were going against what's his
name? Even when I was in Orlando, he was Ian. Now I fully respect Ian. Let me tell you something, because Ian has spoke about me so many times on Full West channel, and said you need to bring Claire on here, just for his backstory of how he became pro at the older age and so forth and so on. And Paul, I'm going to reach out to him and so forth and so forth. But he's always been negative. Even when Ian was said, because Ian was like, no, I think Phil's going to pull this out against Hassan. I mean, Phil looks really good. And it's not just that show. It's just in general. I don't understand. I don't know if it's the fact that, hey, listen, I'm an older bodybuilder, pretty much still on the top of my game. You're retired. Yes, he was an excellent bodybuilder. I'm not going to say I was at his level when he competed, right? But the fact is, I'm still doing what I'm doing at almost 50 years old. And he had to retire for whatever situation. I think that rubs a lot of these. It's not just him, but I'm not even going to call a bunch of people out. But it's these older bodybuilders that don't give. Like me, I would support an older bodybuilder that's doing great at the top of his game in an open competition. I'm going to give him his props. Some of these characters, all they could do is find something negative to say about me, regardless of the fact that they can't respect the hard work I put in, even at or where I'm at in my life. Boston Mass, fully respect, much love. Dexter Jackson, all these guys, Phil Heath, reached out to me numerous of times, top level pros. And then you have, I'm just going to keep it at full wide, but because I don't want to wrestle no feathers because I have attitude. So I see some of these people, I'm not shy from getting them in their faces, get up in their faces. But full wide just really, honestly, for some reason, just rubs me very wrong. I know he's a great dude. He did a lot for Samson Dollar and everything like that. But I look at people's character, man. Even when he does his podcast, I read people. His energy to me is just not positive at all. So that's just the way it is.
Yeah, and you wouldn't be the only person. You're not alone in that opinion. And I was it last year's New York Pro or the year before? I'm not sure. He was there. He had a stand, and I wanted to meet him. And there wasn't a super big line to meet Fouad. There was only 4 or 5 people, and he walked away when people were in line waiting to meet him. There was like some girl talking to him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, let's go and talk to so and so about whatever they were talking about." And there was like 4 or 5 people waiting there, and he just left. So that was my. And it was very disappointing because I was a big fan of his before this. I'm still a relatively decent fan of his, but it's when you meet your favorite person, and then they kind of you actually see what they're made of or what they're really like, and it's like it's disappointing. It sucks. What are you gonna do? What the hell else was I gonna say? Oh, did you guys watch that Phil Heath documentary?
No, I haven't watched it yet. I want to get around to it, but I haven't seen it yet.
I watched it. I was disappointed, to be honest with you. Did you guys watch it, Phil? Dorian?
No, it wasn't good. I mean, the previews of it looked good.
It's good, but when it comes to movies and documentaries, I'm a stickler, and it was. I think that they were trying to drum up emotion from the audience, because it was like All right. First of all, they were talking about his childhood, and any decent documentary will interview somebody from his childhood: coach, teacher, friend, classmate, teammate. Because he was playing basketball in college, and he had nothing. It was just kind of like him and his wife and The Rock, And when it came to bodybuilding, there was plenty of people. It was Kai, there was Steve Weinberger, there was Brandon Curry, and so on and so forth. But then we're kind of like, he talked about he was possibly contemplating ending himself when he couldn't play basketball anymore. And I'm like, it's hard for me to swallow that pill, because it's like, you're just trying to drum up emotion because you're 19 years old. You're a good-looking kid. You're gonna tell me that you were ready to end it all because you couldn't play basketball? I'm not buying it. You know what I mean? And then at the end, he makes this big announcement that he's not gonna compete anymore, and I'm like, yeah, that's not very shocking. I don't know. I was a little disappointed. The production value was good. Put it that way. The behind the scenes stuff was good. The visual stuff was good. Him training, there's a lot of him and Hani, a lot of his wife, but it just seemed like and there was nothing about I'm in a privileged position to be able to make a living doing something that I love. There was no kind of shout out to the fans. There was no. You talk about me and you talk about, the being in the top in the world, and that means so much to me, and blah, 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 and so on and so forth. There was more kind of like they try to do this underdog story with somebody who really wasn't an underdog, because they tried to make the comeback when he did the comeback, and he tried to come back from number 8 and he came in third. They tried to make that like the comeback story, and he's not an underdog. This is a guy, they call him the gift for a reason. And the reason they called him a gift is because the guy was athletically, genetically gifted, and he shot to the top immediately. And they're trying to pose the story as like this rough beginning and this rough thing in college where he couldn't play basketball anymore, and then he loses, and it's the comeback story, and it's his intestines and his hernia. And I'm watching this, and I'm like, this isn't, it just seemed like they were trying to pull emotion from a story that wasn't accurate. Because I don't look at Phil as this underdog guy. I look at Phil as a kind of like a Floyd Mayweather. He had the talent. Everybody knew he was going to be the fucking champ when he came out, and he did it, and he stayed on top, and nobody could touch him until he got a little older. Right? It wasn't like he grinded and he fucking finally nailed it. Man, they were trying to shape it like that. So I was a little disappointed in the actual documentary. That's just me. What do I know?
Yeah.
I don't know, but nobody else watched it. You guys suck.
No, but I mean, from how you just explained the story, I mean, I know that he was really looking to be professional in basketball.
Yeah.
At 19 years old, man, when you don't achieve a goal or you believe that you have put a lot of time and effort into being great, it does. And I'm going to speak out of experience, not just because of what you told me. It's just out of experience being a young man, because I've been there in my life regarding sports, or just dealing with life in general, where I've made attempts to do the deletion. You know what I'm saying? It was never just once or twice. The third time, I pretty much succeeded. I was older, when I ended up on life support, and that was right before I met Patty. I was on life support for about 3-4 days. The third time I made an attempt. People don't understand. It's like life is hard. We even not just bodybuilding. We're talking about every athlete in the world. And him being 19 years old, as much as I've watched him do podcasts and interviews, and how he speaks very highly of the fact that he wanted to be a professional basketball player. I'm happy it never happened, because look at what he accomplished in the sport of bodybuilding. Right. Now, when he lost because of the hernia situation, which he extended of the midsection, my opinion, not that I completely disagree with you, my opinion, he did now become an underdog, because how are you going to battle back from that? Anybody that gets a hernia surgery normally do not and cannot come back and win after a surgery like that. So in his mind, yes, he was. He trained his ass off. He tried to make a comeback, and it just was not good enough because to bounce back from a surgery like that, I don't think no one can do it. But he did make an attempt to do it. So I can't say he wasn't. I think he was. I think that when he did start off, yes, I believe that he was being molded as a young man. He just had an incredible physique.
Yeah.
You know, when he hooked up with Hani, then you saw the Jay era. We saw the Phil Heath coming right after Jay. You know what I mean? We saw that happening. So they molded and crafted him for that. But even if you mold and craft somebody for something, at the end of the day, I watched him train in each Olympia. I watched this guy with anger and turmoil, and he was nasty and mean. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't really nice to anyone. I think what we see in Phil Heath now after he retired, he's a completely changed human being. When I met him in Boston, when I did the Boston Pro, like Patty gets very excited when she see all these great athletes, you know, even wrestlers, you know, and she'll come and say, "Hey, Phil, that's Phil. You know, let's go meet him." And I'm like, I'm not that type of guy. I don't just approach. That's just not me. You know what I mean? But she did call him over. It was like a bunch of us, George Farrell and a bunch of us talking, and she said, "Phil, meet Phil." And that day, he was just real nasty to me. Like he didn't even shake my hand. He just gave me this look, and it hurt me because I was like, "Fuck, man." You know what I mean? I looked up to you, you know, as you were up and coming. But once he got into his retirement, you know what I mean? Just when he DM'd me, you know, even when I was battling Ian, and then when I got the win in Orlando, and people were saying, "Oh, Phil's talking about, you know, his genetics, and he don't use much of this or whatever." And Phil actually jumped in and DM'd me and said, "They don't understand. I've been saying this for years. You know, the gift, genetically gifted. When you're that, shut off all the noise." So I'm happy he's a complete changed human being right now. But you know, and like I said, when I met him in Boston, it crushed me. I never wanted to even speak to the guy again. You know what I mean? Because, like you said, when you meet an idol and you're looking so much to meet them, you just, you know, you're just looking for them to, you know, just be nice. You know, be who you act to be in front of cameras, off camera. You get what I'm saying? But he made up for that tenfolds now. You know what I mean? He has communicated with me. He spoke to me at the Olympia when I went on stage. His people let me cut the line to get up there, and he just was in my ear like, "Listen, don't give up. You looked great." He said, "You know, for what you're doing at your point of life, just the positivity that he preached." So him now as an individual, I fully respect him, and I'm going to make an effort to watch that documentary. I just haven't had the time, but he is a great, great human being. And like I said, I believe that he was an underdog at that point. Before then, no. And I do believe that, yes, I don't see no reason why someone would sit and speak of deletion or thinking of that just to say it for a story, because I've been there. That's not a story you just sell and say. You had been in that dark place to want to do it, to speak about it.
Yeah, you know what? You might be right, and it just first of all, I'm glad that he changed, because I think what happens a lot of the times is when you reach success at such a young age, you take advantage of it, and then I think those people like a Phil Heath, when they reach and then they reach that peak at a young age, and then they kind of realized how privileged they were, then they kind of change their attitude. They kind of understand as they get older. The guys that make it later in life, I think they get it. You know what I mean? I think they get it because it took so much time for them to make it, and they understand the grind. Where it's like where Phil just, you know, jumped right to the top. So I mean, the guy looks at weights and he would grow. It was, you know, it was ridiculous. You know, really, you know. But yeah, no, I'm actually pretty happy. But you're right. You made a good point. It might not be the case, but it also could have been, because we know this, because we know that production and producers can manipulate and edit things to look worse than they are. Because it was just one scene where he was talking to the camera saying, if I did something like that, if I killed myself, my family would be so disappointed. So now that I'm thinking about it, it could be something like, the question, were you so depressed that you thought about ending yourself? And then he just answered it, but they didn't put the question in. And I see this a lot when I interview, like, I've interviewed two different reality show people. And in order to make the reality show more dramatic, they do things like that and cut it out. That's also a possibility. But you don't really know until, you speak to him directly. But it was just, I was a huge fan. I'm still a huge fan of Phil Heath. I mean, I'm not going to fucking, beat around. I'm a huge fan of Phil Heath. Can't take away anything about what he did in bodybuilding. The man is probably, in my estimation, has got to be in the top 5 ever. You went 7 Sandows and you're in the top 5. I mean, that's as far as I'm concerned. It's just that he came off a little bit privileged and didn't acknowledge how privileged he was. Put it that way. But that's just me. And I'm also a stickler when I watch movies and documentaries and stuff like that. And blah, blah. I'm like really, really picky. Like I watched it. Did you guys watch that show, True Detective, on HBO? Anyway, it doesn't matter. This is their 3rd season, and Jodie Foster's in it. I love Jodie Foster. I've loved her since Silence of the Lambs. I'll watch anything she's in, right? So this is what I mean by I'm a stickler, okay? There's a scene where this girl, has to go to this domestic violence dispute, right? And the guy's huge. The guy's this monster of a guy, right? And apparently he hits his wife, and he came to her job and did it, and blah blah blah. And there's a scuffle, and the girl is able to restrain him relatively easy, even though she's a girl and a lot smaller than him. She restrains him, and then while she's got him restrained, she gets a call. And she's restraining him while she's on the phone. And I took my remote and I just shut it off. I was like, I can't watch this crap anymore. This is ridiculous. Give me a freaking break. I mean, not even a guy could do that. Come on. And and no partner, no backup, no nothing. She just showed up, handled business because it's woman power on HBO. And that's it. So I'm a stickler when it comes to like documentaries and stuff like that. So, I'm a pain in the ass. Anyway, did you guys see Bob Sapp competed in his first bodybuilding show?
I heard. I didn't see it, but I heard.
He looked ridiculous. I think that guy just needs something to do. I really do. Because he looked horrible. Because he's a big dude. Well, he was a football player for a while, right? And then he was a fighter.
Yeah.
Right, and then he did that one movie with Adam Sandler, the Longest Yard.
Yeah.
And I thought he should have kept acting because he was pretty funny in that movie. I don't know, but and he wasn't even that good of a fighter. He was just a big, strong dude. He would get gassed out quick, right? He did kickboxing or something like that, right?
I think he did an interview where he said he threw fights.
Really?
Yeah, he admitted that he had threw fights when he fought for money.
Wow.
Patty saw it. She was telling me about it. She's like, man, that's kind of bold to say you threw fights after the fact, but yeah, he's a good actor, man. But I think he likes to venture into different things.
Yeah.
I saw a picture of him when he was really before he did the show. I gave him his props, man. He's 50 years old. I mean, he had no legs, but at the end of the day, he was in good shape. He's 50, he's 50 years old, and he's 6 foot something. He's pretty tall dude.
Monster. Yeah.
So I got to give him his props just to diet down and get lean. These guys get bored sometimes.
Yeah.
Acting, wanting to fight, being professional football players. They like to experience different venues of things. And I appreciate the fact he tried bodybuilding. I think we have one of the toughest sports, to do because it takes a lot of 100%. Mental and willpower to do it. But just to see him, be able to cut down and get in good shape, you got to give the man the props, regardless if he didn't look the best of anything,
It's just, I agree. But it's when you get to a certain age, you have to kind of be able to tunnel your energy into something other than athletics. And because you start looking like you're looking for something, if that makes sense, right? And I get it. You give him his props. It is a rough sport. I agree with you 100%. But usually you should be able to tunnel your energy. And I think the limelight. I think too, being in the spotlight. I think these guys can't handle not being in the spotlight. But as far as I'm concerned, I mean, try to tunnel your energy someplace else where you could be a lot more productive I'm a small example of that. I love bodybuilding. I'll always love bodybuilding. I did 4 shows. I didn't have what it took to turn pro. I knew I didn't. But this podcast fulfills that void, and I put that energy into this podcast and my other podcast, and it's very fulfilling. And I don't look, except when I screw up Martin Fitzwater's, can kicked out of not doing a show. I don't look like a fool doing it, right? Like it gets to a certain point where you look like the old man in the club trying to hook up with the young girl. That's
well, you can still do a podcast and look like a fool now. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, I know. No, 100%. Like I did. I look like a complete fool today. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So
I look like and I'm almost 50, man. I'm 48.
Dorian, how old are you?
41.
45?
41.
45. Oh, 41. Oh, you're still a baby, man.
Dorian, you're 41? Really? I thought
you're still good.
That, dude. You look.
That's when you're in the peak, your prime. I think between the 38 into about the 45 range, you're for bodybuilding anyway, because you got that mature muscle. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm still in my prime though. I use the TRT and Viagra. I'm good. No problem.
Oh God!
You feel like you're in your prime when you have TRT and Viagra. You feel like it, and then what happens is when you're done, you realize you're not in your prime anymore. When you can't walk to the bathroom because you're exhausted.
Yeah,
and you're huffing and puffing. Luke, come on.
Yeah.
Have you ever had an experience like that?
Yeah.
Man, you feel great with TRT and Viagra, and then once you're done, you're like, God damn it, I'm an old man.
Wow.
You cramp up and shit. Oh, shit.
Luke, how old are you?
43.
Okay. So I'm an old guy here.
I'll be 44 this year.
Okay.
Wow.
43 is when I went pro.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, honestly, and wow. I said this. Somebody asked me, as I do Anabolic Academy, right? I do it on Mondays. Somebody asked me about you, and I'm like, Phil's a freak of nature, like, and you really are. Like, nobody's supposed to be winning shows in their 50s. Like, you're just a freak of nature. Like, how at close to 50 do you still win an open show and go to the Olympia? It just blows me away. Everybody else is usually by that point done. Like they're done 10 years ago. Never mind at 50, right?
Hey, listen, man, the IFBB, like when I spoke after I won and gave love and respect to the judges and also Steve Weinberger and Tyler, even though I never really see eye to eye with how Tyler judges me, but I still gave him props and Steve Weinberger, because honestly, I feel for some reason they judge me a little bit harder than some of the other well-known pros, because I've seen some people come in off, big names coming off, and still make the top call out, And throughout the years of just placing where I'm placing, and you're right, you want to give up, but when you push and you stay on that grind and you refuse to let the judge push you out, that's how I speak to a lot of these people in these clinics. Don't let frustration because you can't win or your placing isn't that great. You keep pushing until you can't push no more, until they see you.
Yeah.
When they see you, now it's time to shine. When they give you that opportunity to stand in that first call out, you're battling for the top 5 spot or whatever the place may be. When they see you, it's time to show up and show out. And, that's how I felt through the past couple of years. The energy of being to stand next to one of the iconic bodybuilders from Canada, which is Ian, and Steve Kukos from Texas. When you're put with these guys, that's freaking, in my opinion, one of the legends of bodybuilding. It's a different level. So you just got to keep pushing. Stay on your grind. Don't give up. Keep pushing forward and make them see you. And once they see you, then you're there. But now you have to keep their attention. And that's my thing I have to do this year. I know what they're expecting of me. If I come in less than that, they're going to push my ass right to the fucking third call out. So, you know what I mean? And they'll let you know it's time for you to go.
What happened to Steve Kuklo? I liked him as a bodybuilder.
I don't think he's done, but he does have a lot of things going on. He has the new baby. And he has a lot of he's coaching and he's putting up seminars and he's doing a lot of stuff in Texas. He stays in great shape, so he's not done. You know what I mean? But he did say he might come back and do one more show. If we don't see him this year, I don't think he's coming back because he did make some statements that he wants to be around long enough to watch his son grow up, and he don't want to have the bad knees from hard training. And he even made a comment. I don't know how Clay Hard does it, but which is true. After a while, you start getting these aches and pains, and things just don't start not working as well as they used to. So I think he's done, but he hasn't made a statement that he is.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's what happens. I think a lot of the bodybuilders, they don't really say that they're done. Like, all right, that's it, I'm done. I think in the back of their head, they're like, I'm just going to take a break and I'm going to focus on other things. And then they kind of softly go out, I think that's what happens with a lot of these guys because because like you said, it's a difficult sport. And you got to, if you have other things going on, like children, family, business, whatever the case may be, and you have to concentrate on bodybuilding all over again, and then you realize how selfish you really have to be in order to do well. It's like, I think, So I think that's what happens a lot with these guys. All right.
And that's why, real quick, why I respect Andrew Jack and a lot of these guys.
Oh, yeah.
That's the family first and business opportunities that are taken care of because they understand bodybuilding is only a temporary time limit. And then after a while, it's over,
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. Luke, when are you going to come to Signature? I mean, I could come to Diamond.
I'm thinking either not, if not next week, the week after.
All right.
I'll let you know.
Text me, and we'll train together. I don't know if I could keep up with you, but we'll train. I'll do my best.
Hey, just bring the intensity. That's what I tell everyone.
All right, you got
anybody as long as they have intensity.
I'll double scoop my pre-workout. My friend's like, you got to go get Gorilla Mode. Yeah, I was
Is that a pre-workout?
Yeah, it's a pre-workout. He goes, you got to go get Gorilla because I bought Cage pre-workout and it was trash. I'm like, oh, this is good.
Yeah, you said that.
Yeah, so my friend goes, you got to go get Gorilla Mode. I was like, all right. I go out and go buy Gorilla Mode, and I took a half a serving because they're like, oh, 2 servings is 2 scoops is a serving, so I only took 1 scoop, bro. Dude, I could have put a addition on my house when I got home after the gym. I was flying. I was like, what the
For real, that good. I just don't like the high beta alanine because I don't like the itching. Does it have a lot of beta alanine in it?
I didn't get any itching. It does have beta alanine in it. I didn't really get much itching, but I was like, wow. I was like, they laced this with cocaine or something. This ain't caffeine. Holy shit. All right, gentlemen. Once again, thank you very much. We lost Dorian, but I will text him right after this. I appreciate you guys coming on, and I will see you guys next week.
All right. Luke, be good, brother.
All right,
Later, fellas.
All right, cool.
All right.